our last match. So it was fun. It's fun, guys. We're awake at 7 in the morning and 4 in the morning for feardragon because
Yep.
there was 2 Europeans and it was absurd to put them first. It was just absurd.
Yeah, you know, we needed to make sure that we got into the oddest time zones possible for the 2 Americans when they played against each other.
Yep. But shall we go over what the Civil War is? No, we shouldn't. It's a tournament, guys. It has, you know, prize pools and stuff. But yeah, more importantly, give the tournament more money. There you go. Kickstarter. Still up, still running. I'd love your support. You know, all of it goes into the tournament. We've already hit a couple of goals. We also hit a couple more. Yeah, this is the last 2 days, I guess, of the tournament. Today and the playoffs on Sunday.
I love that explanation. Should we go over the tournament? No, just give us money.
Yeah.
Give us money.
Yep.
But actually, we are pretty damn close, close to closing in on, I think, $27,000 in terms of prize money raised. So do check out that Kickstarter if you guys are interested. There's some pretty cool rewards you can get last second here. We got our 5 Shades of Protoss, though, playing today. Our 5 Protoss players. We got our wonderful, wonderful super fans and everything. The Chad 5 Shades of Protoss Enjoyer. Easily my favorite name for a super fan there.
Yes.
Their name is literally Chad 5 Shades of Protoss Enjoyer.
Yes. And there's the Grub Dub Dubs. We're the best team ever. As
you actually have a lot of super fans and fans.
As seen exactly by the amount of supporters. What's up? Thank you, super fans. Thank you, supporters. That's all I have. I don't have anything clever to say, actually. Just a solid thank you. Most supported team in the league? Officially? Oh, I don't know how, but I like it.
I believe it. That's the highest numbers I've seen. So congratulations. Apparently you got a bunch of super fans and fans, you know, last second, everything. I think, as all memes aside, before we get into like the banter and stuff, I think there's a mutual respect between both of our teams. Both of our teams were looked at and underrated severely, given how damn good our players were and how good of a chance I think our players have in winning all the other matches and stuff. So I think whoever ends up winning this, I think both of us will probably be cheering on the other team and everything. But mutual respect between both teams. You know, may the best team win.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much energy I have for shit talking, especially if I end up losing. So, you know, we're just gonna do
I know
that
how to
thing.
rile you up.
Whoever wins is gonna get the other person's little nod of respect as we float away, you know, into the abyss, and that'll be that. And I guess I'll even cheer for you, right? And you'll cheer for me for our chances to get through. Agreed.
Yeah.
No cheering for Pig.
No cheering for Pig. Absolutely not.
Okay, good. Agreed then.
Well, guys, we're going to be starting down here in our first match in the bottom left-hand side of 2,000 atmospheres. Atop the purple Protoss player from the 5 Shades of Protoss. He is Astrea, Team Alpha X.
And in the top right, for the Grub Dub Dubs, he is uThermal.
Now, I feel like now I have to begin some degree of shit talking, but I was just gonna say, your boy uThermal has not done as well versus my man Astrea in the most recent matches that they played against each other. I will say, usually whenever one of the player loses or something, there's a map or so given to the other one. Good morning, Wardi. I see you. I see you, baby. How you doing?
What are you doing?
Not so good. I'm looking at this preview monitor. He's trying to talk to the chat. Sorry. It's 4 in the morning, all right? I am bound to be a little distracted, all right? I saw someone in the chat saying, wow, feardragon has so much energy at 4 in the morning. No, this is how I overcompensate for having no energy.
I see. Yes, that's an interesting tactic. Yeah, I didn't check their history, actually. But I just know that uThermal isn't having a good time. Oh, excuse me, versus Protoss. I'm not having a good time. So I knew he was always gonna have trouble. He knew he was always gonna have trouble. But I really was disappointed though, because I think initially I looked at your players and I was like, it's all doable. Like I don't think it's really that scary, but I don't think it's that bad either. As in, I don't think your team's bad. So I was like, yeah, I think we have a decent chance. But then when the actual matchups came out, I was like, oh no. Just because I feel like there could have been a little bit more of like, the best player on the team versus the worst player on the team situation, and then specifically SKillous Mana, because Mana actually has like an insane winning record over SKillous. So one of the only Protosses I think who does have like that much history, that much proof that they're usually better. So that didn't make me feel too good. But, we'll see. I've called a lot of these matches incorrectly. A lot of this tournament hasn't made all that much sense. And who knows? But I do know that uThermal was talking to HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE even offered to make a build for him. So again, love the team energy. And I think what they concluded on was that a 3 rocks would be okay. And I think they also mentioned that it might be okay because Astrea opens Stargate a lot, but... actually, it's Twilight Council, so...
All right. Yeah. We also had some nice team energy where I think Mana was given all the details about his former teammate and everything, trying to give him the breakdown about what uThermal likes to do and everything. I think he actually did mention the 3 racks as well, so... We'll see how Astrea is prepared for it. Yeah, like you said, it is going to be Twilight Council and Robo coming out from Astrea, though. He's just going to be going for a pretty standard kind of opening, and I do like that. I do favor Astrea if this goes into just like a super duper normal game.
Right. So I think the trick, though, for uThermal is that even if Mana could give a lot of insight into his TVP, uThermal as like a baseline is just kind of a wacky-dacky player, right? He'll throw out proxies, one base all-ins, tank pushes, like anything and everything, and even some things that people say aren't good anymore. So I don't think you can really ever depend on him doing X or Y thing. So you always have to be scared unless you can get a straight up scout, which might encourage then Rhea Stargate usage because that's going to get a fast scout, or even like a sentry direct follow up, because the Adept doesn't get that direct information. It kind of gets a hint, but it can't actually see if it's like a factory in a starport. So that's why uThermal, I still say, is always scary to go up against. But I do think that Astrea is going to be happy with his results. 2-base Colossus, I think a great response to the 3 racks. Actually, we talked about this with ShoWTime Beyond, I think. Even though Beyond ended up winning that game. So, fingers crossed.
Well, units are coming across the map, and the observer spots out exactly how many units there are. Blink is about to finish up, so these stalkers are going to have the ability to start poking and prodding a little bit as these units start to move up the ramp. There's 1 Marine down, 2nd Marine down, 3rd Marine down. And yeah, Astrea doing a good job with the micro, not losing any hull on any of these stalkers. And already a lot of this Bioforce is pretty softened up, but here comes a stim forward. Is going to be able to target fire down the shield battery. Okay, this is getting a little bit awkward now for Astrea as he loses quite a few workers there.
Yeah, even a Stalker's going to go down as well. Ooh. I mean, that is obviously a decision, though, from the Terran. That might look like the Protoss messed up, but if a Terran decides to do that, there's not much that a Protoss can do. I mean, I guess maybe he could have pulled the probe to the right instead of into the meat grinder, but, even then, it's only going to last so long.
Yeah.
So it leaves uThermal in a very uncomfortable position as far as the amount of follow-up that he has, because not only is it a 3 racks or that late Medivacs, it's going to be a problem for follow-ups. He now just doesn't have a lot of stuff to put in Medivacs, Sometimes if you save the army, you can even do another attack, a follow-up with a Medivac drop and an attack over to the left side. Now you're just depending on a very small number of units, which is going to be good enough for this. Actually, Astrea getting a little overeager, I would say, but he's control the situation now, basically.
Yeah, only 4 stalkers left over now, so Astrea's going to have a hard time even really just poking at the bunker or anything that's still full of those units. So, yeah, I mean, good defense for the most part from uThermal. I'm getting a little bit worried for Astrea. He's going to be able to find a pickoff over here. Gets a Marine, gets an SCV command center. Is going to lose another stalker, though. And yeah, God. These losses really hurt. I know that Astrea has his 3rd base finished up and is, in that sense, economically, he's going to be able to start recovering and everything compared to uThermal, who's only just now kind of gotten that 3rd base started. But yeah, this is been a little bit dicier of a opening, I think, than Astrea was maybe hoping for.
I will agree with that. Because the absolute hope is that the Terran player realizes that you've kind of figured things out, that you have a decent amount of stalkers, you have a shield battery up, and actually Astrea's shield battery is a little bit late. And then they're like, I guess I take a fight, like, mano a mano with the battle units. And that doesn't go well with a supercharged battery. I do think that is the ideal situation. So Astrea is working himself out of an unideal situation, but still not a terrible one. But that's actually where I would argue that Astrea shines, right? It's almost like he needs to get punched first, and then he starts going like Super Saiyan. So uThermal, hell, might have done him a favor in some aspects, but that said, credit to your boy. Of course, uThermal, I think, is going to be okay with how that opened. He's like, all right, like I definitely threw off the Protoss. Let's see how the follow-up goes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I actually feel like could be a really, really fun game just because I think both of these players are actually very good at scrappy situations where things have not exactly gone entirely ideally or entirely normal or standard. So I think that should lend itself to some fun. But we already got our 3 Colossus out over here. Charge getting close to finishing up. +1 weapons nearing completion as well. And all of the gateways for Astrea are about to finish up. He's even got Blink for DTs on the way. But I don't think it's going to be really here in time for this little move out that he's doing. And Astrea, I hope that he is going to have that first warp in, because he is going to need it if he moves out into the map like this.
Oh, this is actually turning awkward for uThermal, though. So what could have, well, okay, hold on. Like, yeah, Astrea's also got to be a little careful. Yeah, uThermal realizes there might be a surround opportunity, but no, there's really not. So what I think could have happened, right, is if uThermal realized that army was moving out, he could have used the double drop for an actual backstab with his tank siege up around his third, and that would have been brilliant. But kind of moving into the Protoss army, yeah, we saw how awkward that turned out to be. And once again, Astrea finds himself a bit more in control of the situation, even if the supplies are a little scary for the Astrea fans. And unfortunately, uThermal also missed the observer with that scan. He had no idea. It was just over to the left a little bit, so this was actually figured out.
Well, War Prism's about to head into the main base as Astrea is also moving around with his army. Looks like there are a few units over here and a missile turret, which should be able to clean up that DT. War Prism is still around, and there's not actually anything to shoot up to kill it right now, so a missile turret is going to be built. But yeah, 6 workers already going down, so not too bad in terms of damage for Astrea. And that Blink upgrade, the disruptors and stuff are all starting to come out here for Astrea. But uThermal's getting into his own next stage. He's getting up the ghosts, and I think that next big army engagement is going to be a very, very scary, decisive one.
Right. I do think that uThermal, even though he has a lot of builds, I do think that his general pace of PvT, or TVP in his case, I think is kind of similar, which is that he does some type of opener. Maybe it's aggressive, maybe it's not. And then he basically has one big push, so he's like he likes tanks, for instance, which I think kind of encourage that. So they slow you down. They kind of encourage one big push. They're also kind of safe as far as dealing with disruptors, sure. But, and then if that push doesn't work, he usually doesn't have a lot behind it. So I think it's the same thing in this game as it was when he 3CC'd versus another Protoss. We do have a little drop, though, and I think this is nice. Just a little bit to distract. And Astrea's Zealot run by is going to do some damage, but I also like that there was a bunker. It was a very temporary bunker, but there was a good idea with it.
Yeah. Zealot's going to be able to pick off some of the ghosts, pick off Siege Tank, and basically slow down any of the reinforcements, maybe take out some of the add-ons. The drop in the main base of Astrea is actually still getting some damage done, but uThermal has basically pulled back with his entire army, so the drop in the main base getting cleaned up, and also Astrea eventually getting cleaned up. It looks like both these players effectively just forced to pull all the way back home, but Astrea finally taking a bit of a supply lead and potentially positional lead. No, uThermal's going to head over to that 4th base again.
And that uThermal kind of has to hope for, since he lost his supply lead, is that Astrea gets overeager. We know that uThermal, at the very least, can deal with disruptors by splitting pretty well, but he's usually already in a situation where he's kind of screwed. So we're going to see if that happens again. And in this case, he's not screwed, dodges the disruptors, pounces on the retreating army, then Astrea would be in trouble. So it's kind of up to Astrea to show a lot of patience and a lot of annoyance, I guess, as the War Prism is still alive in the main base.
Oh, love this. He's going to be able to get the armory, which will slow down some of the upgrades since 2-2 finished up for uThermal, but he never actually started up 3-3. Oh, loses the War Prism. That part's a little bit less ideal. But you know, Astrea, he's been getting up all of his other extra bases behind everything, so he's up to now 5 completed Nexus against still just 3 CCs again that uThermal has set up, and uThermal hasn't really. Actually, he just threw down his 4th and 5th command centers. His 4th command center should be finishing up soon, but yeah, still a ways away from actually completing and mining from it.
Yeah. Yep, that's obviously a poor economic situation, and also uThermal just absolutely involved in the late game versus Protoss at this point is feeling uncomfortable. I love that Astrea just added in a couple of Immortals, or did he just cancel them? I think he just canceled them. Never mind. I would have liked if there was a couple of Immortals, because he has 8 Disruptors, so I feel like 6 Disruptors and 2 Immortals actually might be better, but obviously I'm not the pro here. And then uThermal has actually split up his army in kind of an odd fashion that's not necessarily going to benefit him. The tanks do try to target those Disruptors down, but the Disruptors only get a little bit of shield damage. I mean, this is a Nexus, but what about back at home? Does uThermal have enough to guard his own command centers?
Yeah, this is gonna. Oh my god! Oh, Astrea, you absolute legend! You cannot kill all these Disruptors in time, so the majority of the units go down. The DTs clean up the rest. Well done, Astrea, and he is, like you said, gonna be able to do that
Disruptors on the front line! No Disruptors on the front line! Get him! Get this Colossus! It's probably not going to be enough. uThermal also dealing with some of these DTs, but the idea was almost there. It was almost there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried by the fact that uThermal should have had an extra command center or 2 finished up, so he can just immediately reestablish that 3rd base, and he also has a 4th base on the way. But I guess because Astrea at least saved his own 4th Nexus, and the 5th Nexus actually is still alive, and he has a 6th Nexus. Like, maybe I think he's still probably fine for Astrea.
Yeah, I think Astrea is fine. I mean, in the sense that uThermal would have been totally dead without the extra command centers. It's good to point those out, but it's not like Astrea lost those 2 Nexus. And even if he did, I don't think losing the 2 Nexus would have actually been enough either. So, yeah, Astrea is still comfortable. uThermal is probably once again just going to have to hope that he gets maxed out. I would love to see Liberators. I know that they also slow the game down, and Astrea is in a position where he could transition to Stargate, but I mean, that is kind of the agreed upon final step for Terrans. Whether or not it's actually as effective as you would hope, you know, Liberators are usually the last stop.
Yeah, gonna be tough to afford on the current economy as he migrates his main command center over to a new location. Cleans up, I think, a DT that was getting a little bit of damage done, which the DT will even find that command center floating on over. Now, uThermal's going to be able to find the top left-hand base. This is one of the problems of when you actually go for so many bases that you are a lot more spread out, so it's easier for the Terran player to get those pickoffs here and there. But yeah, still uThermal needs a bit of magic to make this game go in his favor.
He's trying to get 2 War Prisms.
I believe it, man. You know, he needed it because he lost one of them.
Yeah, well. uThermal, he has also done something else kind of cool, I guess. He took his 3rd as a planetary, and I think he's just kind of hoping that his 5th is a kind of like not miscellaneous, but it's like an addition. Oh, hold on. It could be a game-deciding fight right now. That is not a lot of Terran army right there. And the planetary is quickly going down despite their repair. It's going to be a decent concave potential for uThermal, but I think it's a similar situation to a lot of his other TVPs. Great last battle, but already taking too much damage.
There it is. 5 Shades of Protoss puts one on the board with a maxed out timing push from Max Angel. And that's a 1-0 lead for us.
It is indeed.
Well played.
GG, well played. Yeah, uThermal, it's kind of surprising how he's decided to play TVP. Because I feel like, well, I guess when I think of like the most action-y, that's a weird way to put it, speedy Terrans, I guess he's not really one of them. Like, if you think of Clem, obviously, when we think of really fast Terrans. But I am a little surprised that uThermal, you know, doesn't do a lot more of like the beat bopping, left, right, left, right. He does, as I was saying, generally go for kind of one, you know, the build, and then he just kind of waits until either he's maxed out or a specific push, and then that's kind of it. So I do think that there's more highlights of TVPs when a Terran player can have 2 armies, right, left and right. And I know he did try that, at least one of the TVPs, but yeah, he just can't get anything to work quite enough. Not unless he does a severe amount of damage in the early game.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And I mean, we even saw just like, for example, the single drop that uThermal had and how long it actually took for Astrea to actually even clean that up. So you can imagine if there were more of those multi-prong harassments or attacks and stuff that could have caused a lot of problems. But, you know, unfortunate for uThermal. That was, I think that was going to be a tough match for you guys. This match, I think, is going to be a little bit tougher for us, even though I think player name and recognition-wise and stuff, like, a lot of people might give this to 5 Shades of Protoss. We're going to be playing Zoun versus Rattata on Pride of Altaris, and let me tell you something. ZombieGrub, I'm going to level with you. If there's one thing I think my players were not thrilled about being on 5 Shades of Protoss, it would be that this map existed and that someone would have to play it every single time we had a match. So I will say this was a tough one. We all knew who was going to play or who they were going to be playing. It was like pretty clear. It's like ZombieGrub's going to send out Rattata on Pride of Altaris, but it was really, really tough to decide who we would send out on this map.
I'm surprised you guys didn't send out, well, honestly, one of your weaker players. I guess that's what I would have suggested if my team had the same dilemma. Where Zoun has been one of your best performers. I don't think you have an undefeated Protoss, right? Both Trap and Zoun have like lost games, but isn't he one of your best performers?
I think he is definitely one of the best performers, especially, I mean, he has been killing it in PvT especially. But yeah, I think like, you know, the SKillous versus Mana thing we felt was like such a good lockdown. Neeb actually was saying like he wanted to actually play Curious Minds this time. So, and actually funny enough, I will say now, Astrea really actually wanted to play uThermal. Or sorry, not uThermal, HeRoMaRinE. He was requesting to try and give him HeRoMaRinE. So we were like, okay, does HeRoMaRinE come out first match or last match? Not sure, but yeah. At the end of the day, things panned out as they did, and we got this guy down here in the bottom right-hand side, holding down the fort for 5 Shades of Protoss on a tough map for Protoss. He is Zoun.
Oh, God.
Team Alpha X.
The top left, it's the green Zerg. It is Rattata. We're going to have the chat all riled up because I'm going to say Zoun, and you're going to try hard and say Zoun.
Oh, I'm gonna alt. This is my secret, is that I have found a way to annoy everyone by changing the pronunciation midway through the commentary.
I like it. I like it. I used to say GIF and GIF interchangeably to bother as many people as possible.
Yeah, for me it just comes naturally. You know, I don't put any thought into it.
You're just naturally bothersome. Like
I'm just naturally
mosquito.
annoying like that. Yeah,
amazing.
I like that human mosquito, the Comcast of human beings.
The Comcast customer support of human beings. Thank you. Thank you, feardragon. Well, I will say that, like, you know, I even brought up, like, I might bring in a weaker player against Rattata. Because Rattata, you're right, like, just doesn't have basically the branding yet. Like, he's had a couple of moments in his career where he's looked like he was going to ascend, like, another level, basically. And he hasn't really quite gotten there. So we're kind of at that point again. But, I mean, Rattata does still have value as kind of a, I don't know, a striker, not exactly a sniper, but just, obviously he can win. He did win against Creator. And I wasn't really necessarily expecting that. So in that sense, I looked at the rest of my team, and I was kind of like, yeah, actually, yes, Rattata's being a little bit of a sacrificial lamb again, because he's faced a lot of the toughest opponents in the Civil War, but he also, I think, might have the best chance, like, not the best chance, but also a solid chance, perhaps in PvZ, if his ZVP is actually feeling pretty good. So I was thinking, like, well, I'm glad HeRoMaRinE, for instance, didn't go up against Zoun, because then I would be kind of scared.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, like, I was looking at your guys' match history throughout how you decided to field out your players on each particular map. And because you guys always kept sending out Rattata on Pride of Altaris, I think basically all the Protoss players would normally avoid it. So it's kind of interesting that you say that, because I think, yeah, he hasn't really had a chance to play Protoss, but there's no escaping it here. We had to send out a Protoss on this map. So he's going to be able to get a nice map for it, and also potentially that preferable matchup. And I know he is definitely the kind of player who is not afraid to get aggressive and in the Protoss player's face, especially on this kind of map. So I really want to see how Zoun is going to respond to it, because frankly, Zoun was kind of like, if I go out on Pride, I lose. And I'm like, I think everyone on the team has said that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we got to send someone.
Yeah, Rattata's just been really eager to play on this map, so, because it is, Zerg favorite, we're all kind of agreed on that, but I guess there's other Zergs out there that were like, maybe let's try and trick him.
Did you mute me?
He did.
Did you mute me?
You. Someone paid 500 bits to mute you.
I paid 500 bits. I didn't think he would actually mute me.
Oh, well, someone else also did it, so we actually made 1,000 from it, so.
Jesus.
Why
do we reward this man?
Well, he did do all of the work. And even though...
He made us wake up at 4 and 7 o'clock in the morning.
Even though I'll never understand the Muslim Rotterdam match being third, it's okay. He does do good work usually.
I just really quickly want to point out, just for a moment's time, that there is in fact 6 gateways with resonating glaives finishing on up, and this Overlord for Rattata did not get a chance to move into the main base and scout out the Twilight Council, just the Robo. And the Stalker also is the other unit that Rattata actually saw come out over here. But Rattata is flooding out Lings and some Roaches.
Yeah, he just knows. This is a really common strategy on Pride. The difficulty for the Zerg player is not in the knowledge even. Like, they don't even have to, directly scout it. They figure it out pretty quickly on this map. The difficulty is protecting both sides of the map, which has, created this dynamic where people look at this and they're like, oh, you can't actually bust the gold. That's correct. You really can't. But then just go anywhere else and the Zerg player is going to have trouble following the Adepts. So that's obviously what Zoun's going to try and do here.
Rattata's response is interesting, though, because he just hasn't really droned up that much. So effectively, these Adepts, if they try to shade over the natural, it's not going to go so well for them because there's no drones over there. And now, Ravager's going to be able to find a lot of damage on those Adepts, but that means that the gold base is actually a little bit exposed. Drones?
Is it though? His shade only got so close. It actually basically got in range of the spine and then not even really to the drone. So it was kind of perfect for a Zerg player. And Zoun's quick retreat is, a guy running away with his tail between his legs. Hoping to maybe puff up at the last second and say like, yeah, I'm still scary. But it really shouldn't be. So now it's about Rattata's follow-up. And this is actually a very similar situation to what happened versus Creator, where the Adept Shades... Well, I guess it's not similar in that the Adept Shades from Creator did actually do a lot of damage and then the counterattack was too great. But a situation where Rattata, I think, is once again going to find himself comfortable knowing what he has to do next, basically. So I would love to see a bit of pressure if a third base is attempted, right? And Zoun eventually has to take a third base. And then just solid macro up the deal with the, I guess, maybe Disruptors? Yeah, Disruptors that he's going to get to.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be where it gets pretty scary for Zoun. But, I will say the thing I did like was that
oh my god,
it was mostly all the Adepts staying alive. But that, that really hurts. That might have reduced Zoun's army supply by a little bit. He's got some Adepts inside the main base that are actually drawing the entire army of Rattata back, which is a massive, massive boon right now because he needs to buy time.
Yes, he does. He really does. I'm afraid one Disruptor is not going to cut it, though. I mean, I'm glad one Disruptor is not going to cut it. Because obviously, it can get a really amazing shot. It's more difficult to do against mass Lings, I would say. They're speedy little bastards, after all. And then there are so many units that it might not be enough. So yeah, quick cancel there. Rattata... Thankfully, I was hoping he would do this, going up to a Spire and just continuing to drone. Yes, he took some damage. Yes, the drone count looks low, but he does have that gold to kind of rebound from that. So if he can get some Yutas out, then obviously Zoun's going to have a lot of trouble. And I think Rattata knows exactly what the follow-up's going to be, again, even though we didn't scout it.
Disruptor in a dream, let's go! Get some drone damage! Ooh, get some big drone damage! And keeps both Disruptors alive narrowly. 7 workers killed is gonna reduce down the worker count quite a bit again. And it also pulls all these units back, so maybe a third base can be established.
Oh my god.
There's the cancel. Zoun's just, yeah.
This is gonna be the funniest game, where Zoun's just trying to hope that Rattata gets a little... Maybe lazy is the right word? Yeah. He's like, yeah, please don't go after my third. Because otherwise, it's just not really going to happen. Even if he has the Adepts in place to defend, and now he has quite a few Adepts, doesn't he? A full Lings surround might still be troublesome.
Yeah, I think The really, really big problem is now going to be even just 3 mutas, because if you look at the army for Zoun right now, there's 1 stalker. That is the unit that attacks up. Oh, loses the disruptor as well. But I mean, at least the War Prism should hopefully scout out some of the mutas. Actually, where are the mutas even popping out?
They're
Looks
not
like
gonna.
2 from the natural.
Yeah, they're not gonna be scouted. The War Prism's gonna fly away. The Observer was killed. The Adepts are going to run across the map, and then mutas are going to show up. Now, not a lot of mutas, to be fair, but it's not like a only muta situation anyways. You know, there's other units, too. Ling run by. Not going to work out. Hopefully checks this 4th base. His Ling is so close to seeing it. And the mutas are setting the... Oh, the Adepts are going to shade? No, they're not. No way.
Okay. All right, the Lings went home. They did not scout the 4th base, and the mutas are actually not getting a whole lot done, so the Adepts are going to try and shade around and like threaten a shade over the gold. Oh my god, is he going to let that finish? He lets it finish, and Corrosive Bound's actually going to get dodged pretty easily over here. So with this positioning, he's going to trade out versus a lot of Lings. Can he actually get out of here alive with enough of the Adepts? Still dodging a lot of the Corrosive Bounds. I have to say, all in all, pretty decent trades, things considered.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but the army supply is quite worrisome. And again, if this 4th base is figured out and that pylon might have just given it away, what do you do to defend it? You can't cancel it anymore.
You know what, ZombieGrub? Now he's got the disruptors for the roaches, okay? Most of the Lings have been taken care of. I believe in a thing called disruptor.
Okay. No, the army is going to be enough this time around, since the Lings actually don't dodge out as well as they could have. Rattata is missing a couple of elements, right? Let's talk about the lack of 4th base, which, well, actually, with the gold base constantly being harassed, I mean, it's not mining out as fast as it could have, but we're going to eventually have that moment where the gold base runs out and you're like 2 base Zerg. Like, no, that doesn't work. And then no upgrades. So the army, you know, we could very much have Zoun actually survive to get to that decent Protoss army, although he doesn't also have upgrades. And then quantity versus quality situation. So it could happen, but I still feel like Rattata is in a very commanding position.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that Rattata's still kind of leader here, but Disruptor's looking for some connections. Finds a few of these roaches. You know, just gradually softening up that supply and keeping Rattata a little bit busy as that gold base still mines out, and there's still no sign of a 4th base. Okay, finally throwing down a 4th hatchery, but it's nice, though. I still like the way that Zoun has been playing this out. Granted, he's playing it out from behind, but he's buying himself a lot of time. He's looking for free wins where he can, and by being aggressive, he is effectively defending his 3rd base.
Right. That's a very good way to put it. Best defense, good offense, safe situation. Also, this Observer is really pesky. It's allowing these Disruptors to try and capitalize on when Rattata is kind of clearly not paying attention. The army hasn't moved in a little while, give it a little sneak, and boom, suddenly 20 roaches are dead. And Zoun also taking the Zelnaga again, too. Mutas are killing probes, just in case you forgot they existed. There is 2 mutas, and they just died. Oh, no. One's alive. I take it back.
There is 1 muta to continue harassing, I suppose. Oh, Disruptor. Able to find a couple of workers there, maybe a few units. But Disruptor count is getting up there, ZombieGrub. He's getting up to his 5th Disruptor now, and I don't know. I'm not saying it's great for Zoun, but I'm feeling a little bit better than I was like 4 minutes ago.
I know what you mean. I do wonder about the ability of Zoun to play Disruptors against Ling Baneling on Central, though, which is better for him than, you know, East, but still not great. Not as good as West, you know how it goes. Woo! 1 Disruptor already getting a handful of units, and this Disruptor is going to find decent amount. Cancels and Banelings are already finished. Coming in from one direction seems like a little sketch, but I guess that's only the 2 Disruptors. Wait, didn't he have more? Where are the next 2? Hello? Oh, there they are.
Don't actually know. The other Disruptors are still getting good connections, but the Banelings get a big set of connections off on a heart of those Stalkers. Now, are there actually enough units over here with the shield battery overcharged? These Stalkers and Blink? Maybe there's an opportunity, but a lot of the Stalkers on the left-hand side blink out. This is actually getting a little bit too far forward for Rattata. I think he's getting a lot of damage. Yes! Oh, God, he gets the Prism with the units inside. Oh, that might have been the killing blow.
Yes! Yeah, Rattata. Had a slow start in the Caster Civil War, but I'm happy to see a couple of W's on the board for him now. Way to go. I mean, this is, I think, unrecoverable. That was so many Stalkers. In fact, had he actually Okay, GG. Yes, yes. Victory. But anyways, back to Zoun. If he had actually, I think, taken the first fight, the big, like, oh god, everything's getting surrounded, but then was actually able to blink to the right and kind of micro his little heart out and still have 15 stalkers, I feel like Zoun would have continued playing out, right? Because Rattata still didn't have the best economy and was, of course, using a very expensive army. But he did get himself stuck in a position where it was very much do or die. And ultimately, it was probably do or die. But it was very much cemented with the way that he had to defend in that position.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be a tough spot, man. I'm impressed with how close Zoun still made it look in the end, despite everything, how everything kind of started going wrong in that game. But as I said, we were okay with that one. That was one that we were sort of expecting. Pride was going to be a tough map, but ZombieGrub, you hinted at this earlier. The next map is one that I think we're counting on, and the next map is one that I'm pretty excited about because Mana is facing off versus SKillous, and these two have a history that I would say is not exactly going to be something a SKillous is super excited about.
We don't have any sound coming out, so I don't know if Wardi's trolling us or the chat's trolling us or.
And
is it double troll?
Wardi mute me again?
It should be right unless. Oh my god, no! Hang on, everything is broken.
Okay, Wardi said everything is broken.
Okay.
Just wave, guys.
Okay, hi. Just wave.
Okay,
Smile and wave.
I fixed a hotkey. You guys are good. I fixed a hotkey, and fixing the hotkey reset my microphone on XSplit.
Okay. We're good now. Funny story. Funny relation, I guess, is that Rattata also came into the Discord and he was like, I was so nervous, guys. Like, oh my god. Apparently he had pressed the wrong hotkey. He meant to make a spore at the gold base and he made 2 spines. And he was worried he was going to die to DTs, I assume. So thanks, Zoun, for not going DTs and then actually going Adepts. Because that, of course, is the dilemma is, DTs or Adepts. But yeah, we're good. We're good.
Jeez. I saw that and I was thinking, as you were saying, yeah, like he already just kind of knows that this is the common thing. And I'm like, all right, I guess he just threw down spine crawlers expecting that this would help against the Adepts. Okay. Like, I guess that works.
Yeah. I saw the second spine crawler cancel and I was like, oh, I guess he feels really confident. But of course it could have been a DT and that was in my brain, and then I just thought that he'd defend it even without a spore crawler. It was just very much a 7 a.m. brain problem. I was like, no spore crawler, that's fine. But obviously, it was tough. It was. It's always tough to decide which one it is, and thankfully, it was Adepts. Let's just leave it at that. Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're heading into map number 3 with a tied up series 1-1. Here we go. Moving on to Hardwire. As we start down in the section of the map where your player is.
Bottom left, we have SKillous.
Wardi just debated me. He just moved off of my player. That feeling when your co-caster doesn't finish your sentences.
I mean, I was waiting for feardragon to realize that we can't watch Wardi's camera.
We can't?
No.
Oh.
Not unless you watch the preview, but like in game, it's a replay.
Oh yeah. I'm watching the preview to see what his camera is. But over here on the top right-hand side of the map, we have the purple Protoss player from Team Liquid and 5 Shades of Protoss. He has Mana.
So yeah, to reiterate, I think a lot of my guys would have been okay against Mana. He's a very familiar face, obviously European, and all my guys are European. And to the point where even if like uThermal had gone up against him and had a losing record, I would have been like, but I still think Mana a little bit more, and maybe you just kind of get that one victory. Because of that, HeRoMaRinE I think would have had actually an easy time. Sorry, Mana. It's SKillous specifically who has a very long bad record against Mana, and he was very well aware of it too. Sometimes we do ask pros if you were aware that you've had 20 losses in a row, and they're like, no, I didn't realize, but thank you. So that was kind of the bummer is that I think Mana could have been not a free win necessarily for a lot of other people, but it would have been a comfort pick for a lot of other of my guys. But for SKillous in particular, it's not comfortable.
That's where that psychological profiling comes in, ZombieGrub, the notepad that has just all of the future decisions that your team will make really comes into effect.
I mean,
definitely doesn't have to do with the fact that I made a full set of map predictions on what maps every one of your players is going to come out on. Then Mono was like, I think that you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, let's go with your guesses because they're probably more accurate. And he was a lot more accurate. So I'm glad it worked out.
I think the only thing that was really requested was the Rattata, wants to play the Zerg map, and that's fair. And then the other guys, we even had a little bit of a discussion about utilizing... what was it? Like, who goes on the best Protoss or best Terran map?
Curious Minds?
Yeah, I don't remember which one they were deciding on.
We were uncertain, or at least I was uncertain, whether or not you'd send out uThermal on, or HeRoMaRinE on Curious Minds. Because my thought was, HeRoMaRinE, like, there's like, even though we play out every single one of the maps and stuff, I feel like there is a little bit of a momentum when you win like the earlier maps and stuff. There's like a better feeling as opposed to, if you're playing like the 5th map and your team you already know is lost, like you're a bit demotivated and stuff. So I thought maybe you'd send out HeRoMaRinE earlier on, but yeah.
So HeRoMaRinE wanted to play Blackburn initially because he thought he'd face Trap and he wanted to face Trap, which would have happened. But then at the last second, the other guys convinced him to swap him in ShoWTime. So there you go.
There you go.
And I think SKillous just said fit me in wherever. So that's why I was like, I don't know how much you could really plan on that, but fair enough.
I think we kind of guessed that like the leftover maps that would be with the maps that like the Protoss players came out on, which would usually be like the like decent Protoss maps. So I think there were like 2 maps that we looked at and were like, SKillous and ShoWTime are coming out on these 2 maps probably, but which one is on which map? That was like the guessing game.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so in this PvP, we have actually had pretty identical openers. The difference is actually that SKillous is already behind because he went for an extra unit a bit faster by the looks of things. But Mana goes for 2 more Stalkers. Okay, yeah, they're actually building a decent amount of Stalkers. So I actually can really understand SKillous's side of things. I think Mana is a very aggressive Protoss 9 times out of 10. I feel like he's not a European Protoss a lot of times. He's like a Korean Protoss, actually. With his own European flair, I suppose. So, kind of ideally in a Protoss versus Protoss, the more that you can skip, army units, kind of the more you can fit in, not necessarily probes, but like technology, faster blink or a forge with actually +1, right? But then it does also, if you do warp in the units, you can actually do that kind of third bop attack that we sometimes see, where you force field just right, the shield battery's not quite done, and the third gets bopped. So I feel like SKillous might be thinking a bit more defensively, but then ultimately might move out. And then Mana, I don't know, for him, I'd say that he is just intending to move out and cancel a third base if he warps in units.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I think, like you said, Mana definitely can have a pretty aggressive PvP, and I think he's been able to actually, specifically in PvP, I've really enjoyed, especially on his stream, like watching that PvP micro in the early game with a lot of his Stalkers and stuff. He's been able to make a lot of magic happen there, but for now, it does look like both these players are actually going to be sitting at home with Blink finishing up.
Yeah, I wonder if, because I will 100% say that Mana, I definitely think it was aggressive. I'm not taking that back, but I do wonder if it's one of those things where he's like, usually I win with a couple of cheeky things, but I'm afraid that SKillous might actually attack me and try and get me out of the game early on, because I don't actually know what specifically these two play like. The amount of times that I've watched Mana versus SKillous is a bit lower than Mana versus a lot of other Protosses, because they contaminate the European Open bracket. So, I don't know, this could be one of the situations where actually Mana usually wins in the late game. And so he's like, yeah, you're not going to get me with some cheeky mid-game thing, because they're doing some very identical stuff, some very safe stuff. They're getting the units, they're delaying their forge, they're, of course, getting their third, but very safely, making sure their shield battery. SKillous even has 2 shield batteries. And ultimately, it's coming down to a very even game, where the slight differences are like who gets charged 10 seconds faster and probes half a cycle faster, which actually SKillous has managed to get the leads on those departments.
Yeah, I mean, You're absolutely right, and it's been like a very passive game. Finally, we're finally seeing a bit of a difference also in the actual tech choices that are coming on out. We see a Templar Archives coming out over here from Mana. He actually really, I think, I see him do go for a lot of the charge lot Archon stuff in the PvP. But SKillous is going straight up to the Robotics Bay and going into those Disruptors, which I think is a lot more the norm to go for if you're looking for the longer stage game. But see if Mana can hit a nice aggressive timing with that kind of charge lot Archon style first.
Right, that's my biggest fear right now, is that SKillous just went right into Disruptors, and Mana's doing the Archon attack. So that's, you know, that is a really cool dynamic sometimes, the idea of higher technology versus a lot more units. But it's one that I think, you know, my instinct is actually go with a person who just makes a lot of units and gets a concave and runs in. So I actually like this more from Mana, but if it doesn't work for Mana, then he's, of course, behind in Disruptors. And actually, Mana's not even moving out. He is going into his own Disruptors. So I don't think the power is there as much. Yeah, to a punch, he's even getting a 4th Nexus, so, I keep thinking that Mana's gonna use like 1 or 2 of the advantages and then move out, and then he doesn't actually do it, or he doesn't move out necessarily all that seriously. I know he's chasing SKillous right now, but yeah, he's getting all these things that mean he's not gonna come in, he's not gonna all in, so I'm not as worried. That just means that SKillous once again gets a bit faster, a bit more in a better situation late game PvP, when I was thinking there was gonna be a little more hubbub.
Yeah, it gets to be an interesting situation now. Mana is poached forward pretty aggressively with a lot of his army. Even like you said, he is willing to come pull back, and he already does with the majority of his kind of power units and everything. Stalkers blink out to the right-hand side while the Zealots just kind of pick away at like a pile on the left-hand side. But yeah, SKillous is well set up defensively. He's not going to really be broken, and Mana is just going to say, all right, getting up my own Disruptors and stuff, even though he got up a couple of Immortals first. But he is finally getting up that first Disruptor, and as long as Mana can, you know, stick around and be okay against any sort of a Disruptor attack in the early stages, I think he will eventually be able to catch up on the Disruptor count.
All's fair when I think 4 Disruptors are out. Then it's anyone's game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, 2, little sketch, you can definitely count those shots very easily and then, you know, bait them out, and then you're in trouble. But 4, I feel like that's where we really see, combined with like a super battery, you don't really get easily broken. It becomes not a game of inches, but a game of people throwing back feet, you know. You gain a feet there, I gain a feet there because Disruptors. Or, I don't know, meters for the European crowd, whatever. Whatever. You guys are crazy.
SKill's going to be going for the +1 air weapons and adding on that first Stargate. It actually looks like he is getting ready for a pretty quick transition into his big Stargate play. And I know a lot of people always think of just like the carriers with the Stargate transition, but I've been seeing more and more of these Protoss players in Europe going for a lot of like the Tempest follow-ups instead.
It's a bit tricky. So carriers, I would say you can kind of label as the better unit, and this is going to sound very contradictory. I know some people are going to disagree, but usually we see carriers first, especially if you think that you've gotten the jump, and then the response is usually Tempests. And Tempests obviously outrange carriers, so you're like, why would they ever be better? They're specifically designed to take down these capital ships from a long distance, because carriers being a little more mobile, kind of encouraging more of the ground army coming with it, I think usually get in range of the Tempests more often. What I've seen from late game PvPs most recently is that the Tempests are a good idea, they're absolutely necessary, and then they get tagged by the Interceptors, and it's, you know, game over Tempests. They're glass cannons. So they have to utilize their full range, and that is incredibly difficult to do when you're beep-bopping around and being super action-packed like PvP is.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Tempest can still be nice, I think, even if you just have them to start picking off some of like the Disruptors and stuff from a little bit further away without having to worry about taking your own Disruptor shots. But oh man, this is getting it's such a close and kind of like almost passive game. Like what? Less than 1,000 minerals have been lost on either end, and only 200 gas for either side. But Mana is finally moving forward to a very aggressive position. He actually blinks all of his Stalkers forward. Blink is on cooldown. He's going to take a big Stalker shot to the face over there. Finally, Blink is off of cooldown so he can escape out of here, but didn't actually get the Nexus. The shield battery overcharge, saving it. Kind of a dicey maneuver there.
Yeah. Obviously, his plan was that his own disruptors would safeguard his snipe on the Nexus, which kind of almost worked, but it was getting increasingly more dangerous, especially if they were reinforcing disruptors. Then you have 2 disruptor angles your stalkers can't actually micro against. So Mana did pull back, I think, at a very good time. At SKillous, you know, he's all about just making sure that he doesn't take a game-ending engagement. He can take kind of a bad engagement, all right, but not a game-ending one because he's got those carriers on the way. So as long as he survives, the carriers will pop out, and once Mana has to disengage, then SKillous can actually be the aggressor.
Mana poking on forward over here, and the disruptors on the right-hand side for SKillous. Mana, does he see them? Does he know about them? He is going to actually be able to blink back safely. I was going to say, if he could just get one disruptor to zone those out, that would have been nice. Both these players going for a little Zealot run by counterattacks, or I guess on Mana's side, it's actually an Archon Immortal Zealot attack, and gets the Nexus.
Oh my god, Blink's on cooldown, Blink's on cooldown. Oh, he went after the disruptors! So the disruptor on the front lines was canceled. Oof, that was sketch. 2 Nexus do fall. Mana is currently very rich, so the fact that he's starting to lose out on some stalkers is okay for him. But SKillous losing 2 Nexus, that actually still might be recoverable if he slaps at least one of them down ASAP, because he's got those carriers, he has the army. He still actually has 8 disruptors alive, and Mana only has 1. Okay, he's about to be at 4, to be fair. But SKillous, I think this is... I don't know if this is time to punch it or actually time to turtle, because if he turtles, then obviously Mana's going to catch up on the carrier game.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a really, really hard call, because I think that 4 or 5 carriers is a pretty scary number, but I guess you even also invested into this mothership. You're about to have +2 air weapons and stuff. I could see, oh man, I could see a really good argument for either side. Yeah. But also, the longer that you give Mana, the more time you also give him the hallucinated Phoenix or something, and yeah, move around, see the carrier count, and suddenly now Mana's going to be like, all right, make nothing but those air defense units and also get up my own carriers and make sure I'm ready for this.
If he only goes carriers, though, he's going to be at a severe disadvantage, not just in numbers, but in that +2 attack. Yeah. SKillous, it's all about actually getting the army across the map, though, and Mana's going to try his best to stop that from happening, so he's going to split it up. He's going to go for 2 attacks at once. It's going to get more difficult, though, because the carriers obviously can take care of the disruptors in a way that SKillous in the past could not, but the 2 army attacks, that is still dealing damage. SKillous can't quite defend that 5th base. The 4th base has a lot more stacked defense, and actually the disruptors are coming back. The mothership comes over to try and support as well, and the disruptor shot's gonna take out those chonky units. The zealots will be taken care of by his own warpins. Meanwhile, though, the stalker's trying to target down those carriers. It's not gonna be enough. Mana actually holding, or rather SKillous is holding on both sides. Mana is the one that's losing out on all of his army. His resource bank is still good, but you know, it's one of those things where you could warp in 12 stalkers. Would that be enough against the army that SKillous has? No, he needs his own capital ships.
Oh god, that really hurt. Carriers number 4, 5, and 6 are about 75% of the way out, but they're not quite out just yet. And SKillous is at Mana's front door, actually finding one of the robos as well. Mana has to effectively take a fight over here, and the shield battery is going to get unpowered.
Oh, where is your observers? Okay, one is coming back right now, but it's actually not here. So funnily enough, Mana can't even defend against most of the army. He could try and target on the mothership, but that would obviously be a lot of focus fire. Disruptors just firing all the shots. I do believe that is all the shots. So the stalkers will have a second chance at life. Speaking of disruptors, one more comes out from your guy, and the blink back is good. Time warp even happens, and it does affect the disruptors. Oh, it's about to get crazy. This could be the final battle.
Oh, Stalker's over here for Mana, moving on forward, trying to target fire down the mothership, not able to get it though, and the carriers for Mana, one of them getting very low. Does he have a shield battery overcharge? There it is, gonna be helping out quite a bit. Stalkers for Mana, a lot of them taking a big shot from the disruptors there from SKillous. SKillous is starting to get forced back, but god, his supply is just so much higher.
Yeah, SKillous, he has been on the up and up these past couple of months. Check his Aligulac score after checking that match history and saying it doesn't fucking matter. Check the graph. SKillous is on the up and up. Invest in SKillous stocks today, get dividends tomorrow. What's up?
Oh my god, that was brutal. Here we go. Mana's gonna try and come in one more time, but the Zealots and the Stalker reinforcements there from SKillous are gonna take out most of the ground force. The carrier army for Mana has effectively been depleted. Damn, oh my god.
Yes.
This is, well played by SKillous, but Damn, this is painful time for the turnaround on the rivalry there.
Yeah, this is a great time for the turnarounds. Yeah, buy SKillous coin today. It's gonna be amazing. Mana can't believe it. Woo. GG.
All right. Your team goes up 2-1, but you know, that was well played. SKillous played a beautiful PvP there. A lot of solid, intelligent decisions, and goddamn that one trade that happened where Mana was attacking at the same on 2 different fronts, but just losing so many of the stalkers there, but also SKillous defending like his third base at the same time. Oh, that was the painful moment.
It was.
That was the moment I think things started going wrong.
And Mana absolutely had to do that. He had to. He had to buy so much time because he was always going to be behind in those carrier upgrades. But it obviously had to not go as poorly as it did, but it also had to last a lot longer. There was really 2 goals: not to lose all of your army dramatically, so the counterattack happened immediately, and then not to lose control of the game for another 3 or 4 minutes, so that SKillous, hopefully retreated into his shell, felt a little shy, said, well, I'll play out the long game, and then I think I still win, and then Mana continues gaining advantages. And then instead, Mana lost 2 battles straight up, which worked out for me.
Yes, it did. Well, ZombieGrub, we are now pinning all of our hopes here on yet another Protoss versus Protoss, and we got to win the next 2 matches. It's going to be a tough one, but I think that our next player is going to be up for the challenge. We have Trap going up against ShoWTime. Trap, an absolute legend who's done quite well for himself in recent times, without giving too many spoilers on the recent events and stuff, but he's pretty good at StarCraft these days, I would say.
He's on the up and down.
I believe in his chances.
I mean, I think that's more appropriate is that he's up and down, right? One day, amazing. Next day, questionable. Third day, living proof that Protoss can't win any tournaments. Apparently. apparently. But, I believe right now in his opportunity, his chances of taking this map over here for 5 Shades of Protoss. He's one of the most clutch players last time that we had the War Chest Team League and stuff. I believe he can pull it out here when it matters, when it comes down to it, because that's what tournament champions do, ZombieGrub. That's what tournament champions do. That's true. He dug his heels in. He found his inner courage, his inner spirit, and he barely made round of 12 in Katowice. Way to go, man.
Wow.
Way to go.
Wow. All right. All right there.
I mean, there's an easy shot back. ShoWTime didn't even make round of 12, so.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to do all the translations in my chat between Trap and Zoun as they're talking with each other in Korean, and it's they talk a lot actually. They've actually been, I would say, if there's 2 most chatty people, a lot of people wouldn't have guessed it, but it's been Trap and Zoun, and it's been mostly in Korean. And then Astrea is now weighing in Korean, so I'm just like, I don't actually know what's happening in this chat anymore. I don't actually know what's being discussed.
Maybe complaining about +2 carriers.
I would believe it. Yeah.
Whenever I see people chatting, I assume it's balance 1. So.
Yeah.
Getting the demuzzle experience.
What did Wardi just say?
You're getting the demuzzle experience because you can't tell what your players are saying.
True. So true.
That is true. All right, this is my guy in the green for the Grub Dub Dubs. He is ShoWTime.
Down here on the bottom left-hand side of the map, purple Protoss player. He is Trap. 5 Shades of Protoss. ZombieGrub, I gotta say, a lot of people were skeptical about my team draft and all that good stuff, but what I actually feel like has been the roughest matchup for us that I didn't expect to be the roughest matchup for us?
What's that?
It's been PvP. I feel like
yes.
PvPs at the critical moments have actually been like this happened versus Roddy. This happened versus at least 1 or 2 other people I remember. I can't remember who, but like it's come down to, oh man, like the PvP was the decisive map that could have made it turn like a loss to a win for us. I feel like that's happened many times. So I think, this is the important turnaround time, all right? This is the important turnaround time for our team. This
maybe,
PvP, we're going to win.
Neeb Creator was another one that you
I think, yeah, that actually might have been one of them. Yeah.
And then Max Packs Astrea, and
Yep.
oh, you got 5-0'd from. Never mind.
No. Max Packs? Wait. Max
I
Packs
was gonna say
wait,
the next one versus Nate's team.
Is
But that's where you didn't do so hot, so never mind.
Yeah, Nate's team, I didn't think that we had like an absolutely killer head-to-head, but I thought we actually had a pretty good head-to-head versus
absolutely.
Nate's team. So 5-0 was like quite a surprise.
It 100% was. 100%. Anyone, I'm going to do it again. Anyone who said that was expected, you're all dumb. Okay? Let's just get chat riled up.
Yeah.
And I do think, I thought Pig was going to do better, and it kind of remains to be seen, because of course he could still make it through. But no one expected Nathanis' team to do as well as it did. I mean, he even was pinned as for a couple of people as the one who would do the worst. So I love it. That was maybe the biggest overall surprise. And then like on a minuscule scale, I guess Keen beating Trap, was so far I think to me the biggest upset. Well, actually, SKillous beating Cyril was also a pretty big thing. But
Yes.
Yeah, I guess Keen kind of in general popping off more than I ever expected. So there's been a lot of surprises in the Cast of Civil War. I know we haven't talked anything about this PvP, and actually there's been a couple of interesting, like, one get expand situations happening, but let's bring it back. Trap trying to bust this wall, and ShoWTime having very few units to stop him.
Yeah, it's going to be an Oracle first over here. Now, there are some probes going down on the other side of the map thanks to the Adept shading on 4. That's going to be 3 workers already down before the shield battery finishes up. But, I mean, Trap is actually getting quite a bit of damage done over here on this side of the map. Is it Stargate in range of the shield battery?
I don't think it is, man. Right? I don't think it is. So,
oh my God.
The thing is, if he gets a second Oracle out, I don't think that's bad. But if he loses the second Oracle, which he's absolutely going to lose, then that is very unideal. So 1 Oracle instead of 2, obviously a big difference. The shield battery no longer able to be pierced through. ShoWTime. Yeah, he's going to be sad about that. Just because that would have been absolutely worth it. I don't think it's game deciding, but damn, that would have been so nice to have.
Well played, Trap. I mean, I have to say that I don't know that it should have worked if the shield battery was even like 1 hex further north. I think that would have been not necessarily the best trades there for Trap, especially since the Adepts got so much damage done. But well played. Trap ends up taking a nice little victory from that, but now still has to make sure that he doesn't lose too many probes to the Oracle that is alive, thanks to the fact that there is not a shield battery in the natural expansion. But I believe in Trap's ability to micro in position, make sure that he's not taking too much damage from that.
I think he'll be okay. Oracle, that's funny. Wants to die. Maybe he only caught the tail end on the mini-map and wanted to see if it was an actual move out. That just looked weird. So this is playing on West. Like, you guys chose West, right? Because you won the coin flip.
Yes.
Fortunately,
this was.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we won the coin flip. We got to choose which of the Korean versus European matchups we wanted to have server preference on. We decided that this was the PvP potential for Disruptor Wars. We wanted to have server preference on if we could.
And I think that makes sense. 100%. I'm with you. ShoWTime is no slouch, so it's not like Trap goes, whatever. I can do whatever. But I will throw in that ShoWTime says that apparently Germany to West is not a big deal. So this was kind of... I think this would have been the result if I had won the coin flip, is that ShoWTime would have said, it would be nice, but I don't absolutely need it. So... Who else is playing?
It was a Trap Zoun versus Rattata was the other one. Korean versus European.
Okay.
You guys got server preference on that one.
Oh, you know what? Okay, maybe that wouldn't have been where it goes. I don't know, actually. ShoWTime gave Rattata the preference in the last Cast of Civil War. Anyways, I was trying to think of what the 5th match was. Who? HeRoMaRinE versus Neeb. That's who's left.
Yeah. That one, I don't, like, our coin flip didn't change anything. Oh, boy, that's a very nice stasis trap for ShoWTime, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
gonna not only scout out this army, but also kind of delay the push.
Yeah, 100%. And it's gonna see that it's a very small army, too. So, obviously, if it gets reinforced, then it suddenly isn't. But, if ShoWTime wanted to play with fire, he could try and snipe a unit before they blinked away. Shouldn't happen, but the sentries can't blink, for instance. Okay, ShoWTime did not go for it. So with Trap not being able to do any sort of move out, and it's questionable if his move out would have had any success anyways, we can now officially say that ShoWTime's in the lead, up by 5 probes with faster +1 on the way. He skipped his robo a little bit longer, so while that could have killed him if your boy went for DTs, it's totally fine here. And, you know, this one immortal that Trap will get is going to be helpful. It's not out yet. So
that immortal's actually kind of important. Although the immortal, okay, well, it's going to be popping out the natural, and Trap so on point with the positioning. Oh my god.
Oh my god, this is so dangerous.
Is he going to catch the blink?
Holy shit, this is so dangerous. Please, no, no.
Oh!
I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like this. Okay, he's going to wait out that blink. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit tough. He's going to be able to find maybe a stalker or two. Yeah, gets a stalker. All right, there's something there. I will say that was not nearly as bad as that almost was for ShoWTime.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that if his army's already there and its blink is off cooldown, then obviously his army's actually pretty good. He probably could have taken a straight up fight, but you know, clearly the problem was that blink wasn't going to be available to do it in the first place. So a little overeager. The Oracle could have shifted a little bit more and then saw the army was already waiting, and then I don't think he blinks at all. But ShoWTime had a little bit of a lead to play with. I think that's all he gets to play with, and now he's gonna, you know, make the correct decisions from here on out.
Yeah, I think finally that little worker lead that ShoWTime has had for pretty much the entirety of this game is starting to go away, as both these players are getting into their good old macro grooves and stuff, and, you know, taking 4th base already there for Trap actually being planted down now over at the gold base. But besides that, I mean, Trap is getting his big gateway flood. +1 weapons are finishing up both these players. I think we are moving past, I would say, the scarier part of the game for me, where it felt like ShoWTime just had these nice little leads that could have turned into something really scary with his army supply lead. But now I think it's a lot more even. It's a lot more kind of 50-50.
I mean, even before that blink in, I don't doubt Trap's ability to survive. It's not like we were talking about a 20 probe lead. So while
I was a little afraid just because the immortal hadn't popped yet.
Sure.
And it was 10 stalkers versus 16.
Oh yeah, the difference was great, but we're talking about a shield battery overcharge, a little bit of positioning, a guardian shield being activated. You know, absolutely ShoWTime should have pressured to capitalize on his lead. And he tried, it just didn't go very well. So I definitely get where you're coming from. You can calm down a little bit. And Trap even getting 6 probes there evened up the probe counts. If we check the income graph, the amount of ShoWTime's been ahead is, you know, it's long, but it's not been like really high, right? So now that's evened up, Trap can feel even better, and he's got the gold base, so he should feel really good.
Yep, has to be a little bit careful about behind the minerals being that critical point that a lot of players are able to try and poke and prod and just deny mining time, be annoying, but Trap has had his army in position to try and defend that location best he can, and ShoWTime actually just ends up backing all the way back up home. Nice little army supply lead now for Trap as ShoWTime is trying to get out those first couple of disruptors. Trap has a lot of zealots, and he might be hitting a nice little timing here right before the disruptors are actually out on the map.
Disruptors and shield batteries are all gone, and I like that ShoWTime realizes this isn't going to work out. He's going to abandon ship. He's going to actually keep his shield batteries going. I was going to say, I think he's just waiting for the last possible second, because he knows he can't take the fight here, and he would like more time at his 3rd as well. So he's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to keep those. No, just kidding, cancel.
It's a mature decision. Trap is going to have, obviously, a very nice income lead with the fact that his gold base has been mining for a while now, and he's also now just been able to deny the 4th base. But the thing that ShoWTime can rely on are those disruptors, and he's got 2 popping out at a time, whereas Trap has only got a halfway finished up robotics base. So Trap needs to have an economic lead right now to make sure that he can compensate for the potential of those disruptors hitting.
He needs to have, quantity right now. And again, quantity to survive some of the nasty disruptor shots, still have a good army supply, as well as just to keep the pressure on. So a very similar situation, in fact, to our last PvP, except we're not talking about Stargates, but we're still talking about a tech difference. Trap went for the just amount of units, and ShoWTime's trying to get the better units. So over time, he should be in a better position. But as we said before, once everyone has about 4 disruptors, it feels like it's anyone's game. Who has the better positioning? Who has a better vision?
Well, I have to say, in terms of maps and stuff, as we do have a War Prism actually in the main base, getting a little bit of damage on shield battery is going to help out quite a bit on the defense there for ShoWTime. I was gonna say this is definitely one of those maps where like this 4 base positioning, I think it's pretty tough to find an angle to actually break the disruptor player. It's very, very quick to dart between the 3rd and the 4th base on this map. And once you cover those, your natural is also covered. So ShoWTime is actually able to get into an aggressive position now.
Yep, really identifying that he's going to have the disruptor lead with how much Trap had to kill his 4th. So he's trying to push it. Unfortunately, Trap choosing the right call here, I would say, and just going for a bit of a potential base trade. And actually, it's not even going to be a trade. He's going to straight up be able to get this Nexus. A recall seems awfully questionable, actually. The disruptors don't come with them either. Oh my god, this was not the best recall, I would say. Actually, the force field's hurting your guys' Zealots is really quite nice. The Immortal's chonking away at the Stalkers, and maybe this is going to be okay. If the disruptors can get these shots, please, the love of God, get the shots.
Oh my god.
Oh, ShoWTime has lost so much supply. Disruptors from Trap coming from behind as well. Oh, actually get popped. But ShoWTime supply, it's already plummeted. It's already too bad. Oh, that recall. Oh, man.
Oh my god, I got so worried there for a moment, but Trap pulls it out at the end. He punishes the recall with the blink forward onto it. I fully agree. You know what? I bet you even ShoWTime looks back on that and kind of thinks like, should I have done that? Oh shit. But I mean, I kind of get it. It's a scary spot where like you sort of think, oh, maybe I can like get the units and then also come back from behind and like flank, kill off a ton of your army supply and then just get the win. But yeah, it's a tied up 2-2 series score, ZombieGrub.
It is indeed. Yep. It's unfortunately, it feels like ShoWTime was playing a little more eagerly than he usually would. You know, the blink in the main and then that recall. So, you know, the very ShoWTime move was getting the 4th base just let go. I think that was a very ShoWTime move, but the recall, I don't know if it plays out well no matter what. Even if he, I guess if disruptors were like, maybe if they're, you know, the equivalent of like 5 feet closer, maybe that is a brilliant recall, but it was just such a dangerous game to play.
Yeah, it really was. But, well, I mean, well done by Trap again, like able to capitalize on the advantage that he had. And I think, I respect ShoWTime a lot. He like played a very mature game there. Also, like, for example, could have just outright lost if he was trying to say like, I need to defend the 4th base or something. Just being willing to give it up and be like, okay, that's okay. I'm going to lose my 4th base, but I'll have the disruptors and stuff. Like, I think he was making a lot of good decisions, but yeah, Trap playing it really, really well. Pulling through on that PvP that I was a little bit worried about, but this is going to be the decider match. Neeb versus HeRoMaRinE. Loser gets knocked out of the caster civil war here, ZombieGrub. I'm just going to say I'm going to be sad no matter what, because one of our teams is going to get knocked out, and I was rooting for both of our teams to make the playoffs, but...
Well...
Yeah.
You know, I believe there's a chance that both of us still fall out, right?
There is a chance that both of us still fall out. That's why I didn't say that we'll advance on, but I was saying I was hoping that both of our teams would advance. But one of our teams is definitely not advancing now.
Yes, 100%. That's how it's going to play out, and we'll see what happens with the rest of the teams, actually. Not even just Pig, but also DeMuslim has 2 matches to play. If he loses both of them, I think I think he would be in bottom 2 at that point. I'm not 100% sure. I don't like the math. I usually don't do it. But the point is... We might be saying goodbye for now. At the end of the day, we might be meeting up in Loserville. Having a nice Loserville drink.
Commiserating together. Yeah.
Look forward to it.
I might have work in 4 hours, but I will be having a beer if we end up getting eliminated.
We're on my guy again. So in the bottom right, he is the Green Terran, HeRoMaRinE.
And up here in the top left-hand side, we have our purple Protoss player from 5 Shades of Protoss. He is Neeb.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm just really happy that the clan war was as close as it was.
Close? Yeah, me too. I actually will say, like, yeah, having a close series, especially, like, as the final series and everything, is so much better of a feeling than if you just had like a blowout last day or something. Like, I actually think it's such a big morale, not booster, but killer. I know that you know how this feels like when you just have one of the bad days in the Caster Civil War. Like, man, I think after our first day, I was legitimately just depressed for a few days.
I mean, it's been a stressful experience. It's a fantastic tournament, fantastic opportunity for the viewers, I guess, to support and watch and all that. But it is heckin' stressful because every time your team loses, you feel bad, and they might feel bad as well, and it makes you feel even worse. You know, it's a whole bad times. And you win, it's spectacular, true team league feelings. So yeah, Neeb put down his second pylon at a proxy location, which I actually found was quite bold of him. Just because it is scoutable, it's the same situation as PvP, where it's like, oh, no second pylon? Well, you definitely need it to produce. So this is going to be found out really fast.
Yeah, I mean, the probe running into the Reaper as it was coming down that ramp from the third base makes it so obvious. Like, you know that the probe is coming from an awkward angle. It's got to be over there. The Reaper did pull back for a moment, maybe checking to see if like Adept was coming a little bit faster or something. I'm not sure exactly why he gave us some time, but Adept is now going to be able to get over here before the pylon even really takes any hull damage.
I'm pretty sure it was okay, what if the Adept's coming across the map right now and the bunker's not done, so I'm just going to play a bit safe, because all he needed was one more second. That's all he needed.
Yeah.
And the bunker was going to finish even if the Adept had tried target firing the SCV. So, yeah, I think a lot of the times the Terrans don't really assume they're going to get that pylon, even if they find it super quick like that. Unless they... I mean, maybe if they... No. Maybe if they opened up straight into it. Well, anyways, doesn't matter. So, you just acknowledge it's going to happen, and then just deal with the... you accept that you got the scout, which is still pretty damn good, but you can't stop it from happening.
Yeah, that's actually a very good way of putting it. As the first Oracle is going to be over here, it's going to look for an opportunity to get something done. The Adept shades forward for any kind of vision. And, the Adept actually did soften up some of the SCVs, so Oracle's able to at least get one worker. But obviously, this is a proxy target. It's not like it's not like committed all in or anything like that, but you are looking to get something done with this.
It's not good because he delayed his Nexus for it. So, having equal workers with a Terran and 2 Mules... that's pretty bad for a Protoss player.
Yeah.
Oracles still have the potential to do more damage. I mean, 3 Oracles is kind of crazy. Maybe we're getting a little bit of a classic moment right now. And I don't mean old school. I mean the player. And he's going to try and just ram Oracles into HeRoMaRinE. But HeRoMaRinE went for 2 Cyclones, 2-1-1, or 2-1, kind of ended up doing a 3. Or it was a 1-1 into 3 barracks. The point is he's going to have a lot of things to shoot up. Okay, so I'm not that worried. He's even getting missile turrets. Nice.
Yeah, I hope that Neeb is just going to move in over here and see, like, okay, moving in a little further than I thought he would, but he's going to get able to snag a couple of Marines. Hasn't actually lost any of the Adepts just yet. Finally loses one. Can he get out of here alive with another one? Gets out alive with a single Adept, which,
Yo.
Not exactly great so far.
That Reaper not dying to the Oracles initially, it barely didn't die. I was going to make a joke about how the Oracle is only useful because they killed a Reaper. It scouted the Oracle's positioning to the left of HeRoMaRinE's main base, so we could see their intention to go into the main. I mean, obviously, you kind of predict it. This is not something that's new to Terrans right now, but to know for a fact really helped him, decide, okay, do I need to bring the Cyclones over to that natural? Not really. Let's bring them into the main.
Yeah, man. So annoying that Oracle had run out of energy as it was chasing down that Reaper, but well, Neeb's at least still got his 3 Oracles alive. He's got up his 3rd base, about halfway finished up right now. He's getting up his shield batteries, has Blink on the way, so Neeb is getting his transposition points set up, finally kills that pesky Reaper. And, I mean, now it's going to be about Neeb surviving the kind of move out over here from HeRoMaRinE. And HeRoMaRinE, I think, is already thinking, all right, 3 Oracles. Is there a stasis trap out there? So he's kind of segmenting off individual units first. But there's actually, I don't see any stasis traps on this side of the map, really. Or actually any side of the map right now. Oh, God. Oracle barely survives.
Yeah, no stasis trap yet, but I gotta imagine the HeRoMaRinE's gonna do it again once he actually reaches across the map. Because his medevacs are almost out, Sim combat shield's done. Neeb has a lot of work to do. He is going into that mass gateway style that really needs a good economy to reinforce it. So he's basically in the worst position possible because his economy isn't that great. There's your stasis traps. Is HeRoMaRinE looking for them? I gotta assume that he is. Maybe not. Maybe
Is
not.
he though?
Oh,
Is he
God.
though?
He
buys him time.
I think I'm pretty sure he would have been closer to the third nexus, like in the choke maybe. So, damn. That's it's still okay, I would say. But just don't lose all your marauders.
I don't think it's bad for HeRoMaRinE yet or anything. But, oh man, if just one more little delay can happen, then I think we start getting close to like another round of reinforcing warp-ins. There's like an opportunity over here. Oh, come on. One more stasis trap. One more stasis trap.
Oh, is it
One more stasis trap. Let's go, Neeb!
Yeesh Louise. HeRoMaRinE actually, you know, he did so well on his side of the map. Oh, gonna turn around a little bit. The bio army is still pretty strong. It's got that +1 after all. And, ooh, even that actually firing off. The bio army is about to disappear or be unstasised. So, HeRoMaRinE, it's like, damn, I wish this game was already over because he's in such a favorable position. But,
one more stasis.
My God.
One more stasis. Oh, more.
Jesus.
One more stasis. One more stasis.
This is fucking comical at this point. It's like running into the goddamn rake. Oh. Okay, we're good.
Oh, my God.
Sideshow Bob right now.
You know, Neeb survived until Charge. Charge is now done, or about to finish up over here, but he's actually having these zealots on the map right now. He's starting to warp in some more stalkers. It's still a really scary army right now. HeRoMaRinE powering on through, and this is just not a shield battery than natural.
Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get that W, get the victory. We got ourselves a shot at the playoffs. What's up? We did it. Thanks, HeRoMaRinE.
GG. All right. Well played. Well, I just want to say congratulations, ZombieGrub, on keeping the hope and dream alive. You're finished up with your matches. You ended on a...